Come back alive. 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 Come back alive.
What Whispers in Mesmoralia, a sequel in the anthology. Part 1, The Listeners. The first time I heard them, I thought it was tinnitus, a high-pitched ringing that wouldn't stop. But tinnitus doesn't form words, doesn't whisper names, doesn't say, "I love you," in 1,000 overlapping voices that sound like architecture settling. It started after I helped Berkeley Lent reunite with his soul. I'd been walking home along Merchant Street when I stopped to rest against a brick wall, and the wall said, "Emma, Emma, can you hear me? I'm still here. We're still together. Emma, where did you go? I can feel you somewhere above. Emma, please." I pushed away from the wall so fast I stumbled into the street. First time, an old woman sweeping dove corpses looked at me with knowing eyes. "You're a listener now." Happens to some people. Once you help reunite one broken thing, the city decides you're sensitive to other separations. The wall was talking. Not the wall. She leaned on her broom. What's in the wall? What the wall is made of. You knew to Mesmoralia. 3 years. Then you don't know. Or you knew and forgot. The city's good at making people forget the uncomfortable bits. She pointed at the street, the buildings, the cobblestones. Every brick, every stone, every foundation beam it's them. The bound lovers. Centuries of couples who jumped together, died together, got compressed by the city's hunger into building materials. And they're still conscious, still devoted, still whispering to each other across millimeters of mortar. She went back to sweeping. I stood there, and now that I was listening, really listening, I could hear them everywhere. The buildings murmured with devotion. The streets hummed with eternal promises. The entire city was singing a love song to itself, in voices crushed too flat to scream. Part 2, The Descent. Magdalene found me 3 days later, sitting in my apartment with my hands over my ears. It didn't help. The walls of my own home were made of lovers, and they wouldn't stop talking. Together forever. Isn't this what we wanted? Can't feel my hands, but I can feel you. That's enough. That's enough. How long has it been, darling? I've lost count. Does it matter? We're still we. You're hearing them, Magdalene said. Not a question. Make it stop. I can't. Once you're a listener, you're a listener. She sat across from me, pulling out her cigarettes. But I can show you something that might help you understand. Make it. Not worse, exactly. Just different. Where? Down. The entrance to the underneath was behind the drowning pearl. A trapdoor that led to the network of tunnels and forgotten basements beneath Mesmoralia. But Magdalene took me deeper than that, past the soul broker chambers, past the places where the city kept its working guts. We descended for what felt like hours, through passages that grew narrower, damper, more organic. The walls changed texture. Less brick, more something else. Something that breathed. "This is the old foundation," Magdalene said, her voice echoing strangely. "The first layer. The lovers who fed the city when it was young." She lit a match. The walls were faces, thousands of them, pressed together like flowers in a book, features flattened, but still recognizable. Eyes closed, mouths open, expressions caught between agony and ecstasy. And they were speaking, all of them, constantly, overlapping whispers that created a sound like wind through a ossuary. Forever, together, can't let go, won't let go. This is love. This is hell. This is both. This is us. I fell to my knees and vomited. "They can't die," Magdalene said quietly. "The city won't let them. It needs them conscious, needs their devotion active, needs them to keep loving each other with the same intensity they had when they jumped. Because that's what feeds Mesmoralia, not the death itself, but the eternal sustaining of the emotion. Love as renewable energy. A face near my hand, young female, still wearing the remnants of a wedding veil, somehow compressed into her hair, opened her eyes. She looked directly at me. "Help," she mouthed, though no sound came out except the same whispering as all the others. "Together, forever, together, forever, together, forever." Her hand, flattened into the wall, twitched, trying to reach for mine. I backed away. Part 3. The consciousness between bricks. His name had been Thomas, or maybe Theodore. He couldn't quite remember anymore. The thoughts of the man to his left kept bleeding into his, and that man's thoughts bled into the woman to his left, and so on, until individual identity became a suggestion rather than a certainty. But he remembered her. He would always remember her. She was 3 bricks to his right and 2 layers deeper. He could feel her there, could sense her consciousness pressed against his through the intervening lovers. On good days were their good days. Was their day at? Could almost touch her mind, could almost whisper directly to her instead of through the chain of compressed devotion that separated them. Sarah, he thought, whispered, prayed. "Sarah, I'm still here." And from deep in the wall, muffled by hundreds of other lovers' eternal promises, Thomas, still together, still us. This was supposed to be romantic, he remembered. When they'd stood on the bridge of sighs, hands clasped, shot full of erosion's terrible love, they'd believed they were escaping separation. That dying together meant being together forever. And they were together. God, they were so together. Together with 300 other couples, compressed into a 20-foot section of foundation wall. Together in a way that erased where one consciousness ended and another began. Together until the concept of 2 people became a linguistic fiction, a memory of separateness that no longer applied. Sometimes Thomas could feel the couple who jumped yesterday. Fresh consciousness, still screaming, still struggling against the compression. city would crush them slowly, lovingly, until they stopped fighting and started whispering, until they joined the chorus. We love each other, we love each other, we love each other we chose. This, we wanted this together forever, just like we promised. The new ones always broke eventually. Started believing their own mantras. Started forgetting what it felt like to have space between yourself and your beloved. Thomas had been in the wall for 217 years. He thought time was difficult when you were architecture, but he remembered Sarah, would always remember Sarah, even if he couldn't remember his own name, even if he couldn't remember what sunlight looked like, or how it felt to move limbs that weren't fused to stone. He remembered loving her, and in Mesmoralia's mathematics, that meant he was still human, even if humanity was now a structural element. Part 4, the interview. I started visiting them. Once you could hear them, once you knew what the city was built from, you couldn't just walk away. Or maybe you could. Maybe most people in Mesmoralia did walk away, chose comfortable ignorance over terrible knowledge. But I was Adeliza Moth, and I'd come to this city to search for something I couldn't remember losing. Maybe this was it. Maybe this was the thing I'd lost. The ability to ignore suffering I couldn't fix. I brought a notebook to the old foundation and sat against the wall of faces. I touched my hand to the bricks and I listened. Tell me your names, I said. The whispers changed pitch, individualized slightly. They were so eager to be heard, to be recognized as separate entities, even while crushed into collective infrastructure. James and Catherine, married in the year of Ash, jumped from the Tower of Longings. Marcus and Marcus, they called us the Mirror Lovers. We were shot by erosion on our honeymoon. I don't remember my name, but I remember hers, Rose. Her name was Rose. I can still smell her perfume, even though we don't have noses anymore. I wrote them all down. Hundreds of names. Thousands. The wall spoke, and I transcribed, my hand cramping, my heart breaking in slow motion. Magdalene appeared after the third day. What are you doing? She asked. Bearing witness. To what purpose? You can't free them. The city needs them. If you try to remove them, the buildings collapse. If the buildings collapse, Mesmoralia ends. If Mesmoralia ends, we all end, I finished. I know, you told me. So what's the point of this? She gestured at my notebooks, now stacked 5 deep. Because someone should remember, I said. Someone should know their names, should know they're not just bricks, not just fuel. They were people who loved each other so much they agreed to die together. And yes, the city betrayed them. And yes, they're trapped in eternal consciousness, but they were people. I looked at the wall. A new face, recently compressed, was still trying to scream. Our people, I corrected quietly. They are people, present tense. Part 5, the revolution of the foundation. It started with the couple from yesterday's compression. Their names were David and Diane, and they'd been married for 3 hours placed them in a wall of the registry of eternal things. Romantic, really, if you ignored the horror. But David and Diane weren't old enough to have accepted their fate. They were still angry. I was interviewing a couple from the 1700s when I felt it, a vibration in the wall. Not settling, not the usual murmur of devotion. Something different. No, David was whispering. No, this isn't right. This isn't what we wanted. We have to accept it, said the older lovers around them, their voices soothing, resigned. We're together. That's what matters. We're still us. We're BRICKS. David screamed, and the scream rippled through the foundation, through every compressed couple in the wall, waking something that had been sleeping for centuries. The wall began to crack. Out, Magdalene grabbed my arm. Now, move. We ran as the registry of eternal things began to shake. Behind us, I heard it. All those thousands of lovers, all those centuries of compressed consciousness, suddenly questioning, suddenly remembering that being together wasn't supposed to mean being crushed into infrastructure. The whispers became a roar. We were promised forever not this. Where is the love? This isn't love. We can't even touch each other. We can only exist adjacent. This is a prison. This is a betrayal. This is not what we chose. We want out. The registry of eternal things collapsed at dawn. The first real dawn Mesmoralia had seen in millennia. The eternal twilight cracked like an egg, and sunlight poured through. And in that light, the lovers began to extract themselves from the rubble. They came out wrong. Centuries of compression had changed them. They emerged fused to their partners in ways that defied biology. Two heads on one body, shared organs, intertwined spines. Some were more merged than separate. Consciousness distributed across a form that was neither one person nor two, but something mathematically impossible. David and Diane crawled out as a single entity with 4 arms and 3 legs, and 2 hearts beating invisible synchronization through translucent skin. This isn't better, Diane wept through a mouth they shared. This is just a different kind of trapped. But they were out. They were free from the wall. And behind them, thousands more were emerging. Part 6. The City of Merged Lovers. Mesmoralia adapted. It always did. The buildings that collapsed were rebuilt by the soulless, who, having no attachment to former selves, made excellent construction workers. The city found new fuel, new ways to sustain itself. And the merged lovers, the foundation freed, wandered the streets like living monuments to devotion gone wrong. They congregated in what used to be the plaza of almost morning. Hundreds of them, fused in countless configurations, whispering to themselves in their doubled voices. Thomas and Sarah found each other. It took 3 days of calling out, of following the sound of familiar consciousness through the crowd, but they found each other. And they tried to embrace, but their bodies, compressed for 2 centuries, recently extracted, now structurally unstable, purpose fulfilled and hollow. You did this, Magdalene said beside me. She didn't sound angry. She sounded tired. You listened to them. You gave them names. You reminded them they were people instead of infrastructure. And now look, the merged lovers filled the plaza, a garden of biological impossibilities, all of them not touching their partners, all of them whispering the same thing, together forever, just like we promised. Is this better? I asked. Is this worse? It's different, Magdalene said. That's all we ever get in Mesmoralia. Different kinds of trapped, different flavors of eternal. Erosion landed on a broken pillar, his wings heavy with dove blood. He looked at the crowd of merged lovers and laughed, a sound like glass breaking backwards. They're still in love, he said, delighted. Even after everything, even knowing what the city did to them, they're still devoted, still bound, still choosing each other. He was right. Despite everything, the compression, the centuries of consciousness without body, the extraction into fused forms that could barely function, the lovers stayed together. Couldn't imagine being apart, which meant the city had won after all. It had taken people who loved each other and compressed them until love and suffering were indistinguishable, until choosing your beloved and choosing your prison were the same decision, and they still chose it, every single one of them. That's the real secret, Magdalene whispered. Not that the city traps them, but that given the choice between separation and any form of togetherness, no matter how broken, they choose broken togetherness every time. In the plaza, a newly emerged couple tried to hold hands with their shared arm. Failed. Tried again. Their merged face smiled with determination. Together they whispered, "Still us." Epilogue, the new foundation. The city needed rebuilding, and the merged lovers, structurally unstable and unable to separate, volunteered. "We can't live like this," they said. "Can't move properly. Can't exist in the spaces between buildings. Let us go back. Let us be useful." "You choose the wall again?" I asked them, horrified. After knowing what it is, Thomas and Sarah looked at me with their asymmetrical faces. "We choose each other," they said in harmony, "whatever form that takes." So they went back into the foundations, willingly this time, with full knowledge. The city compressed them again, but gently now, respectfully. Made sure their consciousnesses could touch. Made sure they could whisper to each other directly, instead of through intermediary lovers. And I stood in the street, listening to the new foundations settle, hearing their voices in the walls. Together, forever, this is love, this is choice, this is both. And I couldn't tell anymore if it was beautiful or terrible. In Mesmoralia, I was learning most things were both. I touched the wall of the rebuild registry. "Thomas," I whispered. "Sarah, can you hear me?" The wall hummed with their reply. "We can hear you. We're here, we're together, we're happy. Are you lying?" I asked the wall, asked the city, asked the universe. The wall didn't answer, or maybe it did, and I just couldn't hear the difference anymore between devotion and delusion, between love and architecture, between choosing your fate and having it chosen for you. In Mesmoralia, those might be the same thing. The city pulsed, the foundations whispered, and somewhere above, erosion reloaded his Glock with fresh devotion, preparing for the next season of binding, because the city always needed more, and the lovers would always volunteer, together, forever.
Feel